Welcome, Middlers, to the Medium in the Middle podcast. Hello, Middlers. Welcome to episode 299. My name is Stephanie. I am the Medium in the Middle. Welcome back if you're a Middler, and welcome if you are new. If you are new, I share my entire journey into mediumship from episode 1. I share from the very first time and every single story that has happened in the last 7 years. So if you want to go back and start at the beginning, the first 10 episodes are usually very helpful for people on their own spiritual development journey. But welcome to episode 299. I can't believe next week I'll be releasing episode 300. What a huge milestone for the Medium in the Middle podcast. I'm very excited. It will be a special episode next week. The podcast is turning 7 years old this summer. Holy cow. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. I designed this podcast to share my mediumship journey and everything that's happened in between, to help other people save time, money, and to hopefully not learn the hard way and the long way. So I share an episode every week to support you in your spiritual development journey, to hopefully answer your questions, to make you feel not so alone, to make you feel not so weird, because I know I felt so alone and so weird when I first started. And I've said this before, I was like, I'm the only person that can talk to dead people, which was so untrue. I just didn't know what to do, where to turn, and I wish I had a podcast like this to help guide me. So I share a lot of lessons on this podcast as well, and today's lesson is about how I put my foot in my mouth and I learned something very important, and this is why I will not speak on fertility anymore. I don't like to pull cards on fertility. I don't like to give guidance on fertility. It is a very sensitive subject, but this is why. So today's podcast episode is soon versus soon, a lesson in psychic timing. What soon means to me and what soon means to you are two very different things, and we're going to talk about it today. So just some updates here from Medium in the Middle HQ. My books are closed and they will be reopening for clients only. And clients only does include my Reiki students. So if you have any appointment booked with me from now until June, if you've attended a mediumship practice circle, if you're signed up for a Reiki course, you will be included in the email that gets my link when it opens again. So I am not accepting new clients at this time, just so I can accommodate all of my current clients. But thank you for all of the interest. There are still ways that you can work with me. I host a monthly mediumship practice circle for all developing mediums. This is for anyone who wants to practice mediumship. If you want to practice mediumship, you are welcome. It can be your first time. It can be your 5th time. It can be your 15th time. If you want practice, we do a practice circle once or twice a month. So in March, there's 2 practice circles. There's one this Friday, March 13th, happening at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And there's another one on Saturday, March 21st. That one's at 11:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So just a few options of morning and evening circles. I cannot stress enough, no experience is necessary. Everyone is just practicing. I will leave the links you need down below in the show notes. Reiki trainings have been flying off the shelves. I just added another Reiki training for June. So there is a new Reiki level 1 on June 6th and 7th. The last course that I added in May sold out in less than 24 hours. So this is your forewarning. If you want a spot, do not wait. The next Reiki level 2 is happening on March 28th and 29th. And there are still 2 spots left in that training if you've been waiting for your level 2. And just as a reminder, the Advanced Reiki Practitioner Masterclass is happening on April 25th. You can attend live or catch the replay. The replay is included with access for 1 year. This is designed for people who want to work in Reiki. So if you are already Reiki level 2, I recommend this masterclass 3 to 6 months after your Reiki level 2. We are talking about advanced techniques and how to work with clients specifically so that you can master your experience, which will help you grow your clientele and make sure you have a repeat clientele and get lots of referrals. So if you want to work in Reiki or if you're looking at building your Reiki business, this masterclass was designed for you. I noticed a big gap between Reiki level 2 and actually working in Reiki, because between Reiki level 2 and actually working in Reiki, most people, it's about 9 to 12 months after their level 2 course. And there's just so much more information that can be shared, things that can be taught, things that can be mastered. So that's what this advanced course was designed for. I will leave all the links you need down below in the show notes. My spring mentorship is opening on March 12th. Right now, it is open to the wait list. Keep an eye out on March 12th. If you're on my email list, I will send an email. I will post on Instagram for the spring mentorship. It is 6 calls, and we will work together between April and August. More information can be found on my website, themediuminthemiddle.com. And those are all the announcements for this week. Let's jump right into this story. So with a lot of stories that I tell on the podcast, I like a certain amount of time to have passed before I share them. So I do have a backlog of stories that I'm just waiting for the appropriate amount of time to be able to share on the podcast. And this is one of those stories. And when I was thinking about what episode I should do next, this one came to mind when I was in the shower. And I was like, you know what? It is time. So I'm sharing this story on the podcast for many different reasons. Number 1, because it was a very big learning experience for me. Number 2, because I believe fertility should be spoken about very sensitively, and this speaks to why. And because when I receive psychic information, there's a lot of things that I don't say for this exact reason. And again, I've learned the hard way, and I hope you don't have to learn the hard way, but take this story as you wish. So this story is many years ago. I was in my old house. So I had been doing this for a few years, but I was definitely still new. And I was doing a live with another medium. So I went on another medium's page and we were doing a live on Instagram. And her and I were just chatting. We didn't really have a plan. And she said, "Oh, do you want to start reading people in the comments?" And because we were on live, I was like, "Oh, yeah, sure." So I don't know. I still remember there was someone's dad that came through, and I was just like giving whatever information I had about this dad. And then there was someone in the comments responding like, "That's my dad." And I was like, "Oh, cool." Like, I did not think it was going to work for me to just randomly read people in the comments or to see who came through for whoever happened to be on this live. Like, I had never done that before. So I was like, oh, wow, like a dad came through and someone accepted all the information. Like, cool. So then after that dad came through, people were just kind of like putting questions in the comments. Thinking back to this was so unhinged, and I would never, ever do this again, especially when it comes to consent. You guys have heard me rant about consent over and over again. To do this publicly, to do this in the comments, to do this on a live, I just think it's unethical and I would never do this again. But again, I'm sharing a story where I learned from my mistakes. So this was the one and only time I've ever done this, was reading people in the comments. So people were commenting questions and the other girl was answering some questions and I was going through, and I remember being hesitant until I saw a name that I recognized. And this person was a past Reiki student of mine. I can't fully remember because this was more than 5 years ago, but I believe she was also a mentee because I knew her and I knew her husband, and they had like mailed me gifts before. Like, I had received 2 separate things, one thing from her and one thing from her husband. And like, I had a close relationship with her. We emailed, we DM'd on Instagram. And she was a regular client of mine, so I knew her and I knew her name. So I also knew that they were trying to get pregnant and that they were going through IVF because, again, we had talked about this and I had a relationship with her. So she wrote in the comments, Steph, like, am I going to get pregnant soon? And when I saw her name pop up and when I saw her question, I was like, oh my gosh, we'll call her Susie. I was like, Susie, like, yes, you're going to get pregnant soon. I see you pregnant. I see a baby girl coming to you. Like, your daughter is coming. She's coming soon. Like, yes, you're getting pregnant soon. And it came to me so fast and it just was like an overwhelming, yes, she has a daughter that's coming. Yes, she's going to get pregnant. And she was commenting back like, yay, I'm so excited. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you. Like, your daughter is coming. So I remember on this live, it was like this celebration and she was in the comments and I was so excited. And then that was it. To be honest, I didn't think about it again after that. It was just one of those things that came up. However, what did make me remember this story is what happened a few months later. So I know it was a few months later. It wasn't like a super long time. So I want to say it was in the 3 to 5 months after this live had happened. I received an email from Susie, and it was a very strongly worded email that was kind. And honestly, I appreciated it a lot, especially at the beginning of my psychic journey. And she essentially said about how it's been months and they've had failed attempts at IVF and she isn't pregnant. And what I said to her made her excited that she would get pregnant soon. And I should really watch what I say because I gave her a lot of hope. And she's very disappointed to not be pregnant. And she wanted to share that I gave her hope and she's still not pregnant. And that's a very bad feeling for her. And I had never received an email like this before. I was shocked to receive it. And also, I was mortified that I said that because I knew that I shouldn't have said that. I knew I shouldn't have said that on live. I know it was inappropriate. And I wrote her back and I profusely apologized. And I told her how she was so right. I should not be saying that. I am sorry. I didn't mean to give her false hope. I just felt the daughter so strongly, but she is 100% correct. That was not appropriate. And like, I couldn't apologize enough. And this email and this interaction really sat with me. Like, I think I cried about it, and I don't cry very often, but I just felt so bad and I couldn't believe I said that. And, you know, it's not even about being right or wrong. It's about what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. And ever since then, I have been very weary about talking about pregnancies, saying anything about pregnancies, predicting pregnancies. My new thing is I will write it down with the date in my notes app. And then when it happens, I will be like, ooh, I was right. And it's just for me. So I don't like saying anything about pregnancy now. So even if you try to book a card reading with me, there's a little disclaimer that says, please no fertility questions because of this experience, because I took this so seriously and I don't want anyone to feel this way. I don't want to give anyone false hope. So fast forward, it was at least a year, but I want to say it was a year and a half after this email exchange. So my Instagram just recently went mini viral. So now I have a lot more followers than I did back then. So back then I could read every DM and respond to every comment, and I looked to see at every person who followed me. I now can't do that. But back at the time, I was like very much like checking everything on Instagram. So I saw that I got a new follower and I, of course, recognized the name. It was Susie adding me again. And I didn't know this, but I guess the year and a half ago or whenever it was, she had probably blocked and deleted me and unfollowed me after she sent that email. So it looked like she was re-adding me. And I recognized her name immediately because, again, this email exchange and this conversation was very prevalent in my mind. I remembered it. And I remembered her. Again, we had a good relationship. So when I saw her name pop up, I was like, oh, she's following me again. And then instantly I was like, oh, she must have unfollowed me, over a year ago. So I clicked on her profile and it was her name and her profile picture was her and a little baby girl. So it was just their two faces kind of like smushed together. She was holding a little baby that looked, I don't know, 3 to 6 months old at this point. It wasn't a newborn, but it was still a small baby. And I just like jumped for joy. I was like, oh my gosh, like her daughter came, she got pregnant, she has her baby. Yes, yes, yes. I was so happy for her. And I really wanted to reach out to be like, hey, I saw your profile picture, like your daughter finally came. I'm so happy for you. But I just decided against it. And her refollowing me was kind of all the confirmation that I needed. She ended up like responding to a story of mine. And then I responded back saying, you know, like, I see your profile picture. Congratulations. And she is still following me to this day. Before I recorded this podcast, I just went and checked. So this was me learning a lesson a very, very hard way. And two things I really learned. Number one is that I shouldn't be saying anything like that publicly. I shouldn't be blurting things out that way. I need to really monitor what comes out of my mouth. But number two, soon is relative. And in psychic and mediumship information, soon means different things to different people. In my head, soon meant 1 to 3 years. In her head, soon meant 1 to 3 months. That's very different. Same thing with mediumship. When I say someone died recently, that's 1 to 3 years. When I say someone died a long time ago, that's more than 8 years. So again, that's relative. If I said, oh, someone died recently, sometimes people think, oh, the last few months or within the last year. When I say recently, I mean like the last few years, 1 to 3 years. Same thing with what died a long time ago means. Some people think that means 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. I've said to people, oh, like, have they been gone a long time? Like, I can see they've been passed for a long time. Oh, no, they've only been dead for about 10 years. Everything is relative. So soon is relative, a long time is relative, a short time is relative. And especially in psychic and medium information, when I say soon, sometimes I have a timeline of like 1 to 3 years or 1 to 3 months or 1 to 3 days. Who knows what soon means? So now when I also give information, I say that. I say soon is relative. A long time ago could mean this or this. Coming up could mean tomorrow, next week, or next month. So that's why you have to take every piece of information with a grain of salt and placing it through a lens. However, I also have to do the same. And I've really learned to watch my tongue, not say certain things. And I try to not say anything about fertility or pregnancy. I used to love telling people they were pregnant before they knew, or I would tell them what they were having before they knew. Oh, you're having a little girl, you're having a little boy. And honestly, that is all just ego, and I don't need to be right. And I stopped doing that. So now I don't say anything. If someone asks me, do you know if it's a boy or a girl? I say, I don't know. And I write it down in my little notes app to see if I'm right for later. But that's all for me. Again, this is my own ego work. This is what I have to learn. I don't have to say things anymore to be right. I've been right enough times that I know. And this is just such a sensitive subject that I don't need to be right about. So I have chosen to not speak about this anymore, just to respect everyone involved. I don't want anyone to feel like Susie did at my words. So I really respect others, and I want to be mindful of what I say and how I share it. So I wanted to share this story on the podcast. I'm very happy to share that it has a happy ending and that Susie got her daughter. However, there was a long period of time, that 1.5 year period, where I didn't know that this story was going to have a happy ending. So I want to share the good, the bad, and the ugly on this podcast. I want to share when I learn lessons easily and sometimes the hard way too. I have a lot of examples of times that I have shoved my foot in my mouth and been like, oh, I will never say anything like that again. And even when I teach this to other people, I share these experiences to be like, this is what happened to me. This is where I put my foot in my mouth, and this is why I'll never say things like this again. But this is kind of one of those things where you all will have your own experiences where you're like, oh, and I'll never say that again. So hopefully this saves you putting your foot in your mouth. Hopefully this just brings a mindfulness to this conversation and psychic information and sharing it. I do think there's a very big responsibility with it, which is why I really, really, really watch what I say, not only for consent reasons, but also just getting people's hopes up. I don't want anyone like holding on my words of, well, Steph said this would happen. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. I release new episodes every Wednesday. If you want to press subscribe. Next week, we'll be celebrating 300 episodes of Medium in the Middle. So exciting. If you want to work with me in a mediumship practice circle, in a Reiki training, or mentorship, all the links you need will be down below in the show notes. Or you can visit my website, themediuminthemiddle.com. But until next Wednesday, Middlers, when I see you in your ears, I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye, everybody.